各位来宾，在这边再次的提醒大家，今天活动进行当中，请不要拍手、鼓掌，同时也请记得将您的手机转为静音模式，谢谢。Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to remind you to pay respect to the victims and families. Please do not applaud during the event, and please remember to switch your mobile phones to silent mode. Thank you. 各位来宾，总统已经抵达会场。Ladies and gentlemen, Her Excellency President 蔡英文。各位来宾，欢迎莅临由台湾民主基金会、驻台北以色列经济文化办事处以及德国在台协会所主办的2024国际犹太大屠杀纪念会。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2024 International Holocaust Remembrance Day Ceremony, organized by Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, Israel Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei, and German Institute Taipei. 2005年，联合国大会通过将1月27日，也就是奥斯威辛集中营解放的周年，定为国际犹太大屠杀纪念日，来纪念在纳粹大屠杀中罹难的600万犹太人和其他数百万的受难者。In 2005, the United Nations designated January 27th, the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz concentration camp, as International Holocaust Remembrance Day, to honor the 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust and millions of other victims of Nazism. 在台湾，驻台北以色列经济文化办事处以及德国在台协会，也从2016年开始，每年都会举办纪念活动，希望让台湾的社会也能够了解这段历史和人权课题。Since 2016, the Israel Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei and German Institute Taipei have co-hosted events in Taiwan each year, not only to commemorate the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, but also for the Taiwanese society to learn more about the Holocaust and its significance in the advancement of human rights. 今天活动一开始的表演将由吕怀哲先生用意地式语和中文译文来朗读诗歌《多纳多纳》，随后由黄友文女士进行钢琴音乐的演绎。《多纳多纳》这首歌的歌词是由波兰犹太裔意地式语作家 Aaron Zetlin 于1940年到1941年所创作，是至今世界上最广为传唱的意地式语歌曲之一。For the opening performance, we have Mr. Lu Huaizhe recite the poem Dona Dona in the original Yiddish, as well as in Chinese translation, followed by a musical interpretation on piano by Ms. Melody Huang. Dona Dona, written as a poem in 1940 to 1941 by Polish Jewish Yiddish writer Aaron Zetlin, is also one of the most widely cherished Yiddish songs in the world. 吕怀哲先生现在就读文藻外语大学欧洲研究所，在学期间修行异地术语课程，并且在2022年协助筹办文藻外语大学的首瓦犹太大屠杀人类罪恶之时特展。Mr. Liu is a student at the Graduate Institute of European Studies at Wenzhou Ursuline University of Languages. He also assisted in organizing the university's exhibition, Shoah, How Was It Humanly Possible, in 2022. Let's now welcome Mr. Liu.
多纳多纳这首歌是由波兰犹太裔异地术语作家阿轰蔡林于1940到41年所作的词，并由乌克兰犹太裔音乐家 Sholom Sekunda 所谱曲。内容反映了犹太人在第二次世界大战之前以及大屠杀时的处境。歌词中的小牛描绘了犹太人在隔离期里对自由的渴望，也是大屠杀受害者的隐喻。标题多纳多纳则是希伯来文阿多奈，意思是上天的缩写，隐含着犹太人二战时无语问苍天的无助与悲情。这首歌也是迄今最广为传唱的异地术语歌曲之一。异地术语是犹太人离散在中欧与东欧所使用的语言，是由希伯来文字母书写，也包含德语、斯拉夫语和希伯来语等语言的元素。在二战时被屠杀的600万犹太人当中，大部分是以异地术语为母语，而这个语言现在也在世界各地特别受到保护。The song Dona Dona was written in 1940 to 1941 by the Polish Jewish Yiddish writer Ahon Tseklin and was set to music by the Ukrainian Jewish musician Sholom Sekunda. The lyrics reflect the situation of the Jewish people before the Second World War and during the Holocaust. The word calf in the lyrics depicts the longing for freedom of the Jewish people living in the ghettos and is also a metaphor for the victims of the Holocaust. The title Dona Dona is a contraction of the Hebrew word Adonai, meaning heaven, and evokes the helplessness and sadness of the Jewish people during World War II. It is one of the most widely cherished Yiddish songs worldwide. Yiddish is the language spoken by the Jewish diaspora in Central and Eastern Europe. It is written in the Hebrew alphabet and contains elements from German, Slavic languages, and Hebrew. It is the mother tongue of the majority of the Jewish people murdered in the Holocaust, and is a protected language in many parts of the world today. 现在我要朗诵多纳多纳的异地术语歌词以及中文翻译。Dona Dona von Ahon Tseklin. Eufen voll liegt das Kälbel, liegt gebunden mit der Strick. Heuch im Himmel flieht das Schwelbel, dreht sich hin und Krieg. Lacht der Wind im Korn, lacht und lacht und lacht. Lacht ob Tag, ganzen mit der halben Nacht. Schreit das Kälbel, sagt der Bäuer, welcher hastig seiner Kalb, woll's gekehrt zu sein, a Vogel, woll's gekehrt zu sein, a Schwalb. Betne Kälber tut man binden, und man schleppt sie, und man schächt. Wer's hat Fliegel, flieht a Häuf zu, ist bei keinem mit kein Knecht. 一头小牛五花大绑的 躺在马车上，一只燕子高兴欢喜地在高空中来来回回恣意飞翔。风儿在玉米田里肆无忌惮地笑着，笑声整天回荡着，直到夜半。多纳多纳多纳，小牛哭诉着。农妇说：“谁叫你是头小牛呢？你要是只小鸟就好了，是只燕子就好了。”可怜的小牛被捆绑，被拖曳，被屠杀。要是有对翅膀，就能远走高飞，就不会是任何人的奴隶。
谢谢吕怀哲先生 ，Thank you very much to Mr. Liu。黄友文女士是一位音乐创作者和音乐制作人。2021年获得好消息电视台的全球诗歌创作金传奖。2022年12月举办了第一次个人圣诞音乐剧的演唱会，目前经营 YouTube 自媒体。Miss Melody Huang is a singer, songwriter, producer, and winner of Good TV's Golden Legend Award for her original gospel song, Beauty Arise, in 2021. In December 2022, she had her first original Christmas musical concert, Never Fails, in Taipei 101. Melody currently produces media for her YouTube channel.
Sky, how the
Thank you for that beautiful performance. 再次的谢谢两位所带来的演出。接下来我们要邀请的是台北市可巴德犹太协会的拉比 Rabbi Shlomi Dabib 来诵读祈祷文慈悲的神。这首祈祷文通常是在丧礼或纪念仪式中诵祷，为的是安慰已逝者的灵魂。Next, we would like to invite Rabbi Shlomi Dabib, President of Chabad Taiwan Jewish Center, to recite a Jewish prayer, Maleh Lahamin, Merciful God. This prayer is for the soul of the deceased, usually recited at the burial or memorial services. Rabbi Dabib, please.
אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את כל הנשמות של 6 מיליוני היהודים, חללי השואה באירופה, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו ושנספו על קידוש השם בידי המרצחים, הגרמנים הנאצים ועוזריהם משאר העמים, יימח שמם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם, השם הוא נחלתם, וגן עדן תהא מנוחתם, ויעמדו לגורלם לקץ הימים, ונאמר אמן.
Thank you, Rabbi Dabib. Please take your seat. 紧接着进行点烛仪式，来纪念纳粹德国期间遭到屠杀的受难者。在右侧的荧幕将会同步播放说明每支蜡烛的含义。We will now light 6 candles in memory of those who were murdered during the Holocaust. The screen on the right will display the meaning of each candle being lit. To begin with, we would like to invite member of the Knesset, Mr. Boaz Toborowski. 首先由以色列议员 Boaz Toborowski 点亮第一根蜡烛。For the second candle, we would like to invite Dr. York Poster, General Director of German Institute Taipei. 再来请德国在台协会许佑格处长点亮第二根蜡烛。For the third candle, we would like to invite Representative of Israel, Maya Yaron. 请以色列代表尤玛雅点亮第三根蜡烛。再来请外交部吴钊燮部长点亮第四根蜡烛。For the fourth candle, we would like to invite Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. 钊燮 Joseph Wu. 接下来请台湾民主基金会董事长及立法院韩国瑜院长点亮第五根蜡烛。For the fifth candle, we would like to invite Chairman of Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, Mr. Daniel Han. 最后，恭请蔡英文总统点亮第六根蜡烛。For the sixth candle, we would like to invite Her Excellency President 蔡英文。谢谢，请总统留步。接下来进行合影。We will now take a group photo. 请各位一起看中间的摄影镜头。Please look into the camera in the center. Thank you. Please remain on the stage. 接下来请总统府林佳龙秘书长上台一起合影。We invite Secretary General to the President, Mr. Lin Jialong, and also members of the Knesset to the stage for another group photo. 同时，我们也邀请3位以色列国会议员一起加入合影。 Once again, please look into the camera in the center together. 请大家一起看中间摄影镜头。Thank you very much. Please take your seats. 谢谢各位，请大家回座。刚才以色列、德国和台湾的代表们为我们点亮了6根蜡烛，一方面是纪念第2次世界大战期间遭到屠杀的600万犹太人，另一方面也向幸存者和受难者的家人致意。The 6 candles lit by representatives from Israel, Germany, and Taiwan are not only to honor the 6 million Jews who were murdered during the World War II, but also to pay respect to the survivors and families of the Holocaust victims. 接下来，让我们邀请德国在台协会许佑格处长上台致辞。And next, we would like to invite Dr. Jörg Poster, General Director of German Institute Taipei, to give us some remarks.
Excellency, President Tsai, Secretary General to the President, Dr. Lin Jialong, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Joseph Wu, Chairman Han Kuo-yu, of the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, Acting President of Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, Dr. Liao Dachi, Representative Maya Yoron, of the Israel Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei, members of Knesset, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great sorrow as well as never-ending pain that we have gathered here today to commemorate the Holocaust, one of the darkest chapters of humankind. I am very grateful to the organizers, the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, and the Taiwan government for their support in arranging the solemn memorial service. The Holocaust is a horror without comparison in its atrocity and brutality. On the basis of a racist and anti-Semitic ideology, 6 million Jewish people perished by the hands of Nazi Germany. On the occasion of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, we remember the victims of the genocide and commemorate the liberation of the concentration camp in Auschwitz on January 27 in 1945. Our aspiration to remember what happened has 2 meanings. One is, of course, to honor the victims. I would like to thank my colleague Maya that we will have the chance to listen to Peter Gasper, a Holocaust survivor from Slovakia, who is going to pass on to all of us his personal memories from these terrible times. The second is to make sure that nobody forgets what happened during these dark years. We have to keep the memory alive to what happened then, in order to make sure that we make the right choice today and in future. As sad as it may sound, not only do we tend to forget what cannot be forgotten, we also may fall victim to an understanding of the events at the time, which deviates from history and from the facts. In many places today, and very much to our dismay, Germany is no exception. We see a polarization leading to especially accentuated, if not extreme, opinions. As one of the consequences, almost 80 years after the end of World War II, anti-Semitism is on the rise again. Also, this development is alarming. There is hope as well. Not only do governments react, but the civil society does too, expressing their support and sympathy. Perpetrators are brought to justice. Large-scale demonstrations against extremism show we do not tolerate intolerance. The message, loud and clear, is never again. And let me be frank here, nobody in his right mind could possibly think otherwise. When I look back to my own visits to the concentration camp in Buchenwald and to Yad Vashem, I recall images which are impossible to forget. The late Holocaust survivor Esther Bejarano, who was deported to Auschwitz in 1943 and then to the concentration camp in Ravensbrück, lost her parents and her sister to the horrors of the Nazi regime. Her message to us was very clear. You are not to blame for this time. but you are guilty if you don't want to know anything about that time. You need to know everything that happened back then and why it happened. This is why we are here today. Thank you for being with us and thank you for your support.
Thank you very much to Dr. Poster. Thank you. Please take your seat. 再来，让我们邀请驻台北以色列经济文化办事处尤玛雅代表上台致辞。Next, we would like to invite Representative Maya Yaron of Israel Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei to give us some remarks.
Her Excellency President Tsai, Chairman of Taiwan Foundation for Democracy and President of Legislative Yuan, Mr. Han, Secretary General to the President, Dr. Lin, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Wu, Acting President of Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, Dr. Liao, Director General of German Institute Taipei, Dr. Polsner, honored members of the Israeli Knesset, Mr. Jeffrey Schwartz, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Her Excellency President Tsai, for honoring us every year with your presence. Thank you, Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, for continuing to lead and carry the obligation to promote awareness about the Holocaust here in Taiwan. Being here together sends a strong message about the importance and relevance of Holocaust remembrance to all peace-loving nations around the world. On the summer of 1944, Ms. Shulamit Rabinovich was imprisoned with her husband Yitzhak and their young son Shmuel at Kovno Getno in Lithuania. 3 years earlier, in 1941, when the Nazis invaded Lithuania, there were 37,000 Jews living in Kovno city. In 1944, after the liberation by the Soviet army, only 700 of them survived. On that month of June, Shulamit, a mother of 3, wrote a letter to her 2 sons, whom she sent away before the war to save them, what she believed to be her last letter. Think about a mother who writes these words. Think about sons who receive this letter. We sense the end is near. It will not be long before they finish us all. Actually, it is not difficult for me to die, or for Papa either. What is very hard, infinitely hard, is the fact that your younger brother Shmuel will die when we do. And he's such a wonderful boy. Even under the most brutal condition, he developed into being a fine mensch. He really doesn't deserve it. The borders of humanity itself were completely deleted and forgotten. We have been buried alive for 3 years. For years, we learned so much. We suffered so much. We could teach others so much. And it is too bad that it all comes to nothing. The Rabinovich family was among the lucky ones who survived. After the war, they moved to Israel, and their story reflects the Jewish people's resurrection from the ashes of the Holocaust, the return to our historic motherland, and the constant price we continue to pay for this. Distinguished guests, we meet here today at a time of great sorrow and tension, when anti-Semitism and violence are evident in so many places in our world. Last year, 2023, ended to be the year with the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents all over the world. And these were evident not only on social media platforms, which are rich with Holocaust denial and fake news, but also in direct physical assaults with fatal consequences. 7 months ago, on October 7, my country was severely attacked in a tragic reminder of how hatred, evil, and dehumanization looks like. On that dark Saturday, 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered in their homes. More Jews were murdered on that one single day since the Holocaust. 243 people were forcefully kidnapped, and 133 of them, including women and children, are still held hostage without a sign of life. The atrocities of October 7 brought back the darkest experiences that my own grandparents, like all of Israel's grandparents, experienced during the Holocaust. The magnitude of this assault is frightening. It is heartbreaking, and it changes realities in the Middle East and in the world. Yet, there is a difference now. As now Israel has a strong army that is fighting to protect our borders and defend our citizens, as we have seen during the last weekend. We vow to retain the safety of our one and only Jewish country in the world. We are working to bring it back to a dialogue, security, and peace, hopefully soon. The lessons of the Holocaust are global and universal. They are relevant here in Taiwan as well as everywhere else. When we look back and we learn the historical events of the late 1930s, we cannot help but be worried and alarmed today. The turning of one community against another, the incitement of hatred, the acceptance of intolerance, the justification of terror, these are becoming too common and too widespread, and this state of affair must not be acceptable. The Holocaust teaches us where all of this can lead to. This is not what we wish for our children and for our world. The International Remembrance Day reminds us all of our commitment to promote respect, understanding, tolerance, knowledge. It is in our hands to build bridges and not deepen divisions. Hope is crucial in this path. When we believe a better future is possible, we keep on trying to make a difference around us. Talking about hope, I'm delighted that our speaker today is Mr. Peter Gasper, who will soon join us from Melbourne. Peter's precious testimony carries important message. We must not give up trying to make our world better, even in difficult times, even when the flames of hope are dim. With this message of hope and tolerance, I would like again to thank you for gathering here today to tribute to the 6 million Jews who perished their lives during the Holocaust. We will continue working together for a better humanity.
Thank you very much to Representative Yaron. Please take your seat. 如同犹代表所分享的，纪念犹太大屠杀对于全球所有爱好和平的国家来说意义深远。期盼我们能够汲取历史的教训，捍卫得来不易的民主跟自由，并且致力促进人类之间彼此的尊重、理解和宽容。接下来，让我们恭请蔡英文总统上台致辞。And now, please welcome Her Excellency President Tsai Ing-wen.
Representative Yellen, Director General Poster, Chairman Yu, Secretary General Lane, and Minister Wu, and honorable members of the Knesset. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to begin by thanking the Israel Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei, the German Institute, Taipei, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy for co-organizing this important event. I also want to thank you all for making time to come here today to remember those who lost their lives in the Holocaust. We're also here to pay tribute to those who survived and to acknowledge the sufferings of all who were affected by the dark chapter of human history. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge Mr. Peter Gasper, who is joining us virtually today. I'm grateful for his participation in this year's event and for sharing his harrowing experience with all of us. Every year we come here together to remember those who perished in the Holocaust, as well as those who endured unimaginable sufferings because of this tragedy. We must pledge to never forget this period in history when human dignity was cast aside for political ideology. We should also never stop fighting against discrimination and bigotry. We must also be reminded that there are still countless people who continue to suffer at the hands of authoritarian regimes and dictatorships. Just because they are of different ethnic origin, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or political ideology. In other words, there is still much work needed to be done. In the pursuit of justice and truth, we can learn from Israel and Germany. Israel, in its effort to preserve the historical account of the Holocaust, especially its victims, and Germany in its courage to face the past. In Taiwan, we have been working to ensure that we address the injustices of the past and uncover the truths of atrocities in the authoritarian era. In addition to the annual commemoration of the 228 incident, the government has built a solid foundation for the realization of transitional justice. We elevated the transitional justice as a priority at the highest government level. The Executive Yuan established government bodies to further emphasize the values of transitional justice in policy implementation. The newly amended Political Archives Act came into effect this year on the 77th anniversary of the 228 incident. This is an important element in my government's effort to restore truth in the pursuit of transitional justice. We hope this will further help bring some closure and comfort to the victims of the White Terror era and their families. Even though we have come quite a long way on upholding human rights and fighting against bigotry, the world must continue to confront anti-Semitism and authoritarian aggression. We're also seeing the horrifying effects of such aggressions in Ukraine and in Hamas' terroristic attack on Israel. This is why we stress the importance of working alongside the international community to safeguard what we fought so hard to achieve, that is democracy, freedom, equality, and peace. As part of our collaborative efforts starting from 2021, the Israel office here, our Ministry of Education's Human Rights Resource Center, and Yad Vashem, Israel's World Holocaust Remembrance Center, co-organized workshops and held troubling exhibitions to raise awareness on the history of the Holocaust. We also continue to donate to Yad Ezra Lakaba, an NGO that works with our representative office in Tel Aviv to help provide daily necessities to Holocaust survivors. Through collaboration with our international partners, Taiwan has been proactively taking initiatives to enhance regional religious freedom, to fight against discrimination, and to promote equality. Taiwan will continue to be a strong advocate for human rights and democracy. History has taught us time and again that unity is in combating hatred and developing understanding. As we are confronted with the growing threats of terrorism and authoritarianism, it is even more important that we work together so we can leave the world a better place for future generations. We owe it to the memories of those who lost their precious lives to a tragedy like the Holocaust, and those who sacrificed themselves to protect the value of democracy. We should also remind ourselves to remain vigilant while we reaffirm our vow to not let this tragedy happen again. In closing, I want to thank everyone for taking part in this meaningful event and for keeping the names and stories of the victims of the Holocaust living in our memory. Thank you.
Thank you very much to President Tsai. 谢谢总统，也非常感谢总统莅临今天的纪念会，让我们恭送总统离场。Ladies and gentlemen, let us once again thank President Tsai for attending the event today. Thank you. 接下来，主办单位要邀请犹太大屠杀的幸存者 Peter Gasper 先生来进行线上的见证分享。Mr. Gasper 是从澳洲来和我们进行连线，来分享他的见证。And now Holocaust survivor Mr. Peter Gasper will be joining us online from Australia to share his testimony. Mr. Gasper 先生是1937年出生于斯洛伐克，当时呢已经是遭到德国纳粹政权的占领，有3年的时间，他被迫四处躲藏，最后呢仍然被关进集中营，并且在非常艰苦的环境中幸存下来。战后，在1949年，他有机会移居到澳洲，也开启了人生新的篇章。Mr. Gasper was born in Slovakia in 1937 when the country was already under German occupation. And for 3 years, he survived by going into hiding and enduring the nightmarish conditions of a concentration camp. In 1949, Mr. Gasper traveled to Australia to begin a new chapter in his life. 今天上午 ，Mr. Gasper 刚刚领到了今年1月他所荣获的澳洲勋章。那么这个奖项是颁给具有杰出服务贡献的澳洲公民，我们在这边也非常的恭喜他。And just this morning, Mr. Gasper went to retrieve the Order of Australia medal that he was awarded this January, a high honor that recognizes the outstanding achievement and service of Australian citizens. Congratulations. And now let's hand the floor to Mr. Gasper.
Thank you. Mrs. President, honored guests. The oldest hatred in the world, 4,000 years old, is the hatred of Jews. Jews have been hated for the crucifixion of Jesus, not willing to convert to Christianity, and later to Islam. Over millennia, we were expelled from Rome, England, Spain, Portugal, and we ran for our lives from prejudice, discrimination, and murder in Persia, Iraq, Syria, all of North Africa, Russia, Poland, and all of what is today Eastern Europe. Grounds for hatred of Jews varied over centuries. Theological, social, economic. Until late in the 19th century, in Germany, the Tudor scientific racial genetics developed an expression, anti-Semitism, a racial hatred that became the cornerstone of the National Socialist Party in Germany, the Nazis, as they became known, culminating in the rise of Hitler to power in 1933, and the master wave of hatred. Through caricature, prejudice, and stereotyping of Jews, we were blamed for all unemployment and poverty that befell Germany as a result of losing the First World War and the subsequent worldwide Great Depression of the 1930s. In 1935, the Nuremberg laws severely restricted the lives of Jews, their occupations, limitations to their education, prohibitions to restaurants, theaters, cinemas, and even park benches. I was born in Slovakia in 1937. In 1938, in Austria, next door to us, it was annexed by Germany, and Slovakia became a German puppet state. In 1939, the Second World War broke out. What follows is now not only the greatest genocide in history, but also the best documented genocide of all times, documented by the perpetrators themselves. It is important to understand that what became known as the Holocaust was taking place at the same time in the same geographical sphere as World War II was a distinct and separate agenda of Nazi Germany. It is well documented that on several instances during the war, the Nazis diverted human and physical resources from the pursuit of war towards the concentration and movement of Jewish prisoners. My family in Bratislava, Slovakia, was a very middle-class family. My father was the employee of an insurance company. We lived in an apartment on top of a hill on the outskirts of town. We were not a religious family. My parents, even as I was very young, must have known what was happening, brewing in neighboring Austria and Germany, and I, as a child, was kept in ignorance. For that